Imagine one day that we woke up to a world that feels unfamiliar. The summers are too hot and winters don't feel like winters anymore. Storms are stronger, wider floods, wildfires, and heat waves that are becoming the new normal. But this is not a science fiction. This is happening right now. And the reason? Climate change. But what does that really mean? Climate change is more than just hotter days. Um, it's the disruption of the nature's balance, the balance that has sustained life for thousands of years. Our systems, our choices, and our way of life, banning fossil fuels, cutting down forests, and polluting the air, is an accelerating change at a speed that we are struggling to keep up with. And this matters because of everything we depend on: food, water, clean air, stable houses, safe communities is at risk. So here's the big question: what happens next? And are we heading toward disaster, or we have still a chance to change the course? That's what we are here to explore in this documentary. We'll break it down. So, what is causing the climate change? The industries, our systems, and the human actions driving this crisis. So, what is happening because of it? The impacts that we are already seeing, from extreme temperature and weather to global inequalities. So, most importantly, what can we do about it? The solutions, the innovations, and the actions, big and small, that can help us turning things around. So, because here is the truth. This is just not the story about the environment. This is the story about us and our future, and the actions and decisions that we make today will define the world for generations to come.
Causes of climate change. To truly understand climate change, we first need to ask what's driving it. Yes, as climate has always changed, but what is happening today is different. It's faster, more extreme, and overwhelmingly is human driven. Three key human activities are feeling this crisis: banning fossil fuels, coal, oil, gas. We ban them for electricity, transportation, and industry, and in doing so, we pump billions of tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Fossil fuels are responsible for over 75% of global greenhouse gas emission and nearly 90% of all CO2 emission. The more we burn, the more we trap heat in our atmosphere, pushing temperature higher. Deforestation. Forests are nature's greatest climate regulators. Trees absorb carbon dioxide, keeping the air clean and temperature stable. But every year, we destroy over 12 million hectares of forest, cleaning land for agriculture, logging, and expanding cities. But we cut down trees, we don't just lose a natural carbon filter. We release the stored carbon back into the air, making the problem even worse. Agriculture practices producing food, especially meat, comes at a high environmental cost. Livestock like cows and sheep produce methane, a greenhouse gas far more potent than carbon dioxide. Fertilizer release nitrous oxides, another major contributor. And forests are cleared for farmland, further accelerating the cycle. But beyond these root causes, recent global events show just how challenging this fight has become. Corporate climate retreats, major oil and gas companies like BP and Shell have recently backed away from their climate commitment, choosing instead to reinvest in fossil fuel projects. This raises a critical question: are profits being prioritized over urgent climate action? Legal accountability. In a groundbreaking case, Peruvian farmer Sol Luciano Lalure is suing German energy giant RWE, arguing that their greenhouse gas emissions have contributed to the melting of Andean glacier, putting his home at risk of catastrophic floods. This case could set a global precedent for holding major polluters legally accountable for climate damage. Understanding these causes and these development is critical, because if we know what is driving climate change, we can begin to address it, and more importantly, we can demand action, because it isn't just about statistics. or science, it's about our future.
Having explored the root causes of climate change, like banning fossil fuels and deforestation, we now turn to something even more urgent: the profound effects these actions are having on our planet. When we ban fossil fuels, it's more than just emissions. We are releasing massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and this CO2 has a powerful ripple effect. Elevated CO2 levels trap more heat in our atmosphere, intensifying the greenhouse effect. This warming drives a series of cascading impacts, starting with the melting of polar ice caps and glaciers, which causes sea levels to rise. And the consequences? Coastal communities around the world are at increasing risk. Homes, infrastructure, and entire ecosystems face the threat of being swallowed by the sea. But the damage doesn't stop there. Higher temperatures stir up more extreme weather, more intense storms, longer droughts, and deadly heat waves. These events disrupt ecosystems, devastate agriculture, and put human lives at risk. And then there is deforestation. Not only does it release more stored carbon into the air, but it reduces the planet's ability to absorb CO2. The Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the earth, is a key player in this process. It absorbs large amount of CO2, keeping our planet's climate in balance. But widespread deforestation in this region isn't just releasing carbon, it's diminishing our planet's ability to regulate those emissions. And the real world impacts of climate change aren't just theoretical. Take Saul Luciano Lalilla, a farmer in Peru. He is facing increased flood risk as glacier in the Andes melt due to rising global temperatures. He has taken legal action against German energy giant RWE, blaming the company's emissions for the glacier melt and the floods threatening his home. This landmark case highlights the direct link between corporate emissions and the real-world consequences for vulnerable communities. Deforestation in these areas is driving up local temperatures, leading to more heat stress, and it's taking a toll on human health and agriculture. These combined effects of burning fossil fuels and deforestation not only accelerate global warming but also disrupt weather patterns. The result? More unpredictable and severe climatic events. These extreme changes are hitting agriculture, water supplies, and biodiversity hard, affecting human health and economies all over the world. Recognizing the profound effects of fossil fuel combustion and deforestation is essential. It's a reminder of the urgency for sustainable practices and policies that can mitigate these impacts to protect our planet, our communities, and future generations.
Ways to prevent climate change. Understanding the causes and effects of climate change is crucial, but the real question is what can we do about it? The good news: there's a lot we can do. Both global initiative and individual action play key roles in this fight. On the global scale, many organizations are leading the charge. United Nations Environmental Programme UNEP UNEP is focused on advancing sustainable development and climate action worldwide. Their goal? To inspire and empower nations to improve qualities of life today without compromising the future. The Nature Conservancy Plant a Billion Tree campaign. This ambitious project is aiming to restore forests by planting a billion trees. Why? Because trees absorb carbon dioxide, helping to combat climate change and support biodiversity. 350 Organization. This grassroots movement is pushing to end fossil fuel use and transition to renewable energy sources. Through campaigns, events, and advocacy, they're helping to drive policy changes and raise climate awareness. But while these global movements are making strides, the truth is, each of us can make a difference too. Let's take a look at some practical action we can all take. Energy conservation. Simple action like turning off lights when not in use or unplugging devices can have a huge impact. Using energy efficient appliances help us reduce electricity consumption and lower greenhouse gases emission. Sustainable transportation. Choose public transit, carpooling, biking, or even walking when possible. This reduces fossil fuel consumption and cut down on air pollution. A small step for you, a big one for the planet. Mindful consumption. One easy way to reduce your carbon footprint is by reducing meat consumption, especially beef. Supporting local, sustainable food sources also helps promote eco-friendly family practices. Waste reduction. Recycling, compositing, and cutting back on single-use plastics all help to reduce waste and prevent methane emission from landfills. Water conservation. Taking shorter showers, freezing leaks, and using water-saving features can save water and reduce the energy needed for heating and treatment. But it's not just about individual habits. Community action makes a world of difference. Getting involved can amplify our impact. Educational outreach. Organize or participate in local workshops and seminars to raise awareness about climate change and inspire action. Advocacy. Support policies and leaders who prioritize environmental protection. This ensures that changes we need happen on a larger, systematic level. Community projects. Join local tree planting events, cleanup drives, or community gatherings. These efforts not only benefit the environment but also foster a sense of community and shared responsibility. Each action, no matter how small, matters. By integrating sustainable practices into our lives, supporting impactful global initiatives, and stay engaged with our communities, we can create the change we need. Together, we can pave the way for a healthier planet and a brighter future for all.
Link between climate change and sustainability. When we talk about climate action and sustainable development, it's not just a matter of protecting the environment. It's about improving our lives and future. Addressing climate change isn't just something we have to do. It's also the key to achieving a whole range of other important goals. Goals that help us all live better. By making smart choices like shifting to renewable energy, adopting sustainable agriculture, and building stronger, smarter cities, we are not only reducing carbon emissions, we are creating jobs, boosting economic growth, and ensuring fairness and equity for everyone. And here's where the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals come into play. Goal 13, which is all about taking urgent action on climate change, is linked to other goals like Goal 7, Affordable and Clean Energy, Goal 11, Sustainable Cities, Goal 12, Responsible Consumption and Production, Goal 15, Life on Land. By tackling climate change, we are making major strides in achieving these other goals as well, because everything is connected. Let's take a look at a great example of this in action. The district of Hyllie in Malmö, Sweden. Once an industrial area, Hyllie is now being transformed into a model sustainable community, expected to house 25,000 residents by 2040. This transformation is happening thanks to a collaboration between Malmö City, energy provider E.ON, and the water company VASYD. They have set up an innovative energy system that runs entirely on renewable and recycled energy, from solar to wind, biogas, and even excess industrial heat. This not only reduces carbon emissions, it also makes the area more energy efficient and resilient to climate change. But what's really exciting? Hyllie is also an economic success story. With all this sustainable infrastructure, businesses are moving in, creating jobs, and attracting new residents. People are benefiting from a higher quality of life. There are green spaces, public transportation, and a sense of community health and connection. The transformation of Hyllie shows that when we combine climate action and sustainable development, we don't have to choose between a healthy environment and a strong economy. We can have both. Hyllie is a perfect example of how we can build cities that thrive today and prepare for tomorrow. When we embrace these kinds of integrated solutions, we're not just fighting climate change, we're also creating a better world for generations to come. Throughout today's presentation, we have taken a deep dive into the complex issues of climate change, its causes, effects, solutions, and how it ties into sustainable development. We started by looking at the root causes of climate change, specifically how burning fossil fuels and deforestation are driving up greenhouse gas emissions. These human actions have led to a sharp increase in carbon dioxide levels, which in turn intensify the greenhouse effects and global warming. The results are clear and alarming: rising temperatures, melting ice caps, rising sea levels, and more extreme weather events. These changes are threatening ecosystems, wildlife, and human lives all around the world. But there is a hope. We have discussed several ways to mitigate these impacts, including transitioning to renewable energy, improving energy efficiency, adapting sustainable transportation, and supporting conservation efforts. Take the district of Hyllie in Malmö, Sweden, for example. This once industrial area has now transformed into a sustainable urban community, powered entirely by renewable and recycled energy sources. This project proves that smart urban planning and community engagement can lead to climate smart cities. We also explore how climate action directly connects with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs), especially SDG 13, which calls for urgent action to combat climate change. By tackling climate change, we are not only reducing emissions but also advancing goals like clean energy, sustainable cities, responsible consumption, and protecting life on land. The core issue we're facing is the unsustainable use of natural resources, which is leading to environmental degradation and climate instability. However, if we embrace sustainable development, we can ally economic growth, social progress, and environmental protection. Sustainable development offers a comprehensive approach to combating climate change, promoting renewable energy, resource efficiency, and equitable policies that benefit everyone. It gives community the tools to build resilience and unlock new economic opportunities while protecting our planet. In conclusion, moving forward requires collective action from governments, businesses, and individuals. By incorporating sustainable practices into our daily lives and supporting policies that prioritize the health of our planet, we can tackle climate change head on and create a thriving world for future generations. Let's commit to this transformative journey towards sustainability, knowing that every action counts in shaping a better, more resilient future.